Oh my God. Last Tuesday, which was March 24th, I went to the Pantages and I saw Newsies. Finally. I have been following this show since 2011. It's like, I'm going to start this movie. I'm not in school yet. It's going to be one of the last movies I watch before school starts. And I'm going to watch Newsies and I'm going to see what the hype is about. So I watched it and I fell in love. I was about to be a junior in high school. And it was just, it became like perfect. Like I knew it was really like not that great, but I was obsessed. Christian Bale at age like 18 was just, whew. So then I got online. I got on a little Google and I was like, well, there has to be a musical. There has to have already been a musical about this. And I looked it up and I had read that the next month in September, I think it was, September, they were going to start performances at Paper Mill Playhouse. And I was like, how's it taken like 20 years for it not to be a musical or for it to be a musical? How has it not been a musical yet? I didn't know. So I followed it from Paper Mill. And then from Paper Mill, when they announced that they were going to be on Broadway, that they were going to bring it to Broadway, and then when they said they were only going to do 100 performances, then they did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, then they went to Broadway, and then they were like, oh, then we'll just extend it to the end of summer. Then that's when we'll cut it. We'll cut it off in August. And then the Tonys happened, and then it became open-ended. And then until last August when it closed. And I was following this show for so long. It made me fall in love with Jeremy Jordan, which made me fall in love with Bonnie and Clyde, which made me fall in love with Laura Osnes, which made me fall in love with Cinderella, which made me do this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And it just, these shows are like gateways, and they're so great. But I can't believe that I actually saw it finally with my own eyes, not just performances on YouTube of like clips of them on TV shows. It was crazy that I was finally seeing this show. Anyway, it was its first night in LA when I saw it. And I was sitting there in the seat with my dad next to me, and he was like, ugh, theater on a Tuesday night again? Really, Katie? Come on, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep driving to LA every Tuesday night going to see theater. And I'm like, Dad, it's going to be great. It's going to be perfect. It's going to blow your mind. So I was sitting there, and the prologue happened, and it was perfect. But when Carrying the Banner started, something inside of me just started to rumble and then explode, because like halfway through Carrying the Banner, I burst into tears. I did, like full blown. I was crying. I don't even know how or why, but I just started crying. That I guess it's because I was surprised that I was finally seeing this show. Plus, it was amazing, and it was like my dream was coming true to see this show. And I was a mess, an absolute mess. And I turned to my dad at the end of the song, and my face was just soaked. I couldn't help it. And I was like, I'm gonna be a wreck this entire show. I just knew it. From that point, I knew I was gonna be a wreck. I was fine until Seize the Day happened. I started getting a little misty-eyed, because that's a great number. It's a great number. And then that ended. Then intermission happened. And everything was fine. I was like, okay, I think I'm good. Came back from intermission. King of New York started. What do? I cry again. I'm bawling at this beautiful show. And at that point, I was done. My emotions were just drained after that I just could sit back and enjoy the lovely piece of theater that was going on in front of me. The show ended, and I had to just sit there, like, in the lobby. It wasn't the lobby, but it was, like, right after the lobby, right before you get to the doors to enter the house. And I had to sit down on a bench, and I just had to sit and, like, whew, calm down, relax, because my emotions were just so off the rails. And I don't know why my emotions are so crazy. I don't know if it's like I've been so stressed recently, or if I was just so happy. This little show that could, as I put it. I call it the little show that could, because it took 20 years and nobody really believed in it until the right people believed in it, And so I loved it. It was so great. And Dan DeLuca and Stephanie Stiles were perfect. Angela Grovey, Meta. My dad I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, dang girl, get it. She was great. The thing I like about the show is that they cast people who are virtually unknown to these characters, and they kind of just, these characters, you see these people have played these characters and like, oh dang, these are some good characters. The only problem I had with the show, and it wasn't even like the show, it was the audio. When they were singing, it was perfect. You could understand every single word they were saying, but when they were talking, it was a little like muffled, and the accents kind of got in the way. I understand the reason for the accents. Obviously, they're supposed to have these New York accents at the turn of the century, so it's understandable. But they could have buffed up the volume on the mics a little bit. However, that could be just a first night of the run kind of deal. So who knows? I want to see it again. Newsies, perfect. Perfection. I'm gonna need to find a new word aside from perfection because I don't even think perfect begins to describe how much I loved that show. Because I love the show. It's not that just the production I saw, even though it was perfect, it's just the show itself. It's the message it sends that even though you're little, you can still start this revolt. That sounds like the thing of Matilda, huh? It's like, even though you're little, you can do well, like you. Anyway, still true. Still great. Go see Newsies when it comes to your city. Comes to Costa Mesa next year, and I want to see it then when it comes. Maybe I won't cry that time. Maybe I will. Who knows? My emotions are all over the place. Anything could happen. Bye.